This is phase 8 Wednesday's workout. We're gonna have straight sets today, 4 rounds of work. We're gonna have 25 seconds of work and 20 seconds of rest with 1 minute transition in between. This is a shorter work time, so we'll have time to go heavier on weights.
All right, so the first station we're gonna have on this day is gonna be the main focus pretty much. It's gonna be deadlifts. So when you're coaching, you probably need to spend most of your time paying attention to this station here. Because it's really important that we get the form right, and then if we're going heavier, we want to make sure that they don't go heavy while having too light or poor form on this one. So we have got a couple different levels for this. The first thing is going to be kettlebell deadlifts. So this would be probably for beginners or people that just can't go very heavy at all. It's really just to practice that hip hinge position, so beginners are probably good for this one. So you're going to have the kettlebell right between your feet here, then you're going to have your hips back, shoulders back, all the way down, grabbing the kettlebell, hinging those hips forward, pressing the floor away, all the way up. Same thing, hips back, shoulders back, pausing every time on the ground, up and down. So like I said, this is for mainly beginners. If they can't go heavier than the 45 or 50 on this, they probably should not be doing the next version because that's a little bit heavier than that. So make sure you're teaching them if they have good form, then they can progress on these ones. So next variation is going to be over here, so a little bit of a progression. This one, if they can go heavier for beginners, is okay since of the position of the handles. Since the handles on the side, it helps them keep their shoulders back a little bit more, doesn't allow them to round as much. So beginners, once they can go heavy on that, they can transition to the trap bar here, but we still want to make sure they have good form. So they're going to have feet right about shoulder width apart, hips back, then they're going to grab the handles since they're on the side here. Then same thing, bringing the hips forward, keeping that back flat and pushing the ground away. One thing before they lift, we want to make sure we're taking the slack off the bar. So get tension, engage our core, and then all the way up nice and tall. Then make sure we're pausing over time. We should be able to take our hands off at the bottom. You can reset our grip as well, so that's a good way you can tell them, make sure you can reset your grip. Get that tension all the way up and down. Like I said, this one, if they're a little bit newer, they can do this one. We want to make sure they can do kettlebell first. It does help them practice getting those shoulders back as well. And then we will have a couple of different weights set out for this one. The next version that I'll show you guys is the hardest version. It requires most good form, so we don't have to progress to this one. Still, they have a really good form on the trap bar. So it's going to be straight bar deadlift. So for this one, we're going to have lots of weights set out for this one. Not for beginners. They have to make sure they have good form first. So we're going to have feet right about shoulder width, possibly slightly wider, it kind of depends, but right about shoulder width. Good for this. We're going to hinge the hips back. Keep those shoulders back, grab the bar right about the edge of the grip, so you want it straight down. Then we're going to drive those hips forward, push the ground away, keep those shoulders back, and get nice and tall. So take the slack off the bar, same thing as with trap bar over there, all the way up, nice and tall, then hips back and down. A couple cues with this, we want to make sure we're keeping the bar close to our legs. So a good thing to say is paint your legs with the bar. So keep it real close. As in a paintbrush it, you're painting your legs with the bar all the way up and down. And then another good cue is push the ground away. That helps remember to use their legs and their hips rather than lifting with their back. Like I said, this is not for beginners, so if they're a little bit newer, don't have them do straight bar. When you're dividing people, you don't want to be cautious. You want to make sure that you're not putting a bunch of people that are beginners all at the same station that all use a trap bar, just so that we have enough bars for everyone. And then try not to put people that use the same weights together. So if you have a couple of people you know are really strong, they can go heavier. Try not to put them together when you're dividing them up, because then we'll have to take a lot of time adding weights and stuff, so try to avoid doing that. So this is the first station, like I said, pay a lot of attention coaching this one. Second station is going to be over here. We're going to have 2 dumbbells. We're going to have dumbbell chest flies for this one. What we'll have is on our back, feet flat in the ground, knees bent, and then back in the ground. We want our arms up to the side, the elbows slightly bent, so only slightly, and we're going up like we're giving someone a hug, squeezing together in the middle, and back down. Up like you're giving someone a hug, back down. So for this one, pretty simple, we just want to make sure they're not bending their arms and going like this, so it's not a press. All right, so arms slightly bent the whole way, up and down. So this is the second station over here. The third station we have over here is going to be ab wheel roll out. So for this one, there's a couple different versions. I'll show you guys, make sure that people are progressed enough to be able to do the harder version before you just throw them at them. We got to make sure that they're having good core strength on these. So first version I'll show you guys is ab wheel roll out. So we'll have ab wheel here. We're going to be on our knees on this blue pad here, and we're going to be out with our arms right underneath our shoulders. We want to make sure that you're not sitting back like this or letting those hips drop on this one. So arms are underneath us, and we're rolling out into a plank position and back up. We want to make sure we're not resetting our hips back, so when they come up, we don't want them going back like this, all right? We don't want it to be like this. What we want is hips right here, just moving those arms. So this is a pretty hard version. It is okay if they can't go super far out with the ab wheel. So if they can go out, that's great, but we want to make sure they're keeping those hips in line the whole time. A little bit easier version, we want to start off with doing people with this one, and a lot of people probably will be doing this one. Stability ball roll up. So for this one, they're going to start with stability ball on their arms, same position. They're going to have it right about on their hands. Then they're going to roll it out on their elbows, back in on their hands, right? So this is a little bit easier version, still challenging, but it offers them a little bit more support. Make sure that they can do this with good form before we are progressing them to the ab wheel. Okay, so that's the one motivation, and then an easier one if they still have trouble is going to be pledge planks, just practicing on that stability in the plank position, on that core stability. So doing in plank position, just lifting up their hand, touching the opposite shoulder, a little bit easier for people who still have trouble with that stability ball. Okay, so that is the third station. Fourth one is going to be over here by the on turf here. We're going to have slider leg curls, or we're going to have sliders under our heels. Lost my slider there. We're going to be on our back, sliders under our heels. You know what we're doing? We're going to have our hips up, all the way up, arms out to the side for some support here. And we're sliding our legs out, all the way out close to the ground, and back up. With this one, want to make sure we're not dropping those hips and going like this, right? So hips up the whole time. That's the most important thing. It really makes sure that we're engaging those hamstrings on this one. All right, so a little bit easier version. A lot of people will probably need to do this version. Is eccentric. So they'll go out, drop the hips down, reset, and back up. Down, drop hips down, reset, back up. Like I said, a lot of people will probably need to do that one. Just make sure that they're getting their hips up. If they can't keep their hips up on the regular slider leg curls, modify them to the eccentric ones. Make sure they're keeping them up the whole way out. Then the easiest version, if people have trouble with sliders, would be glute bridge march. So hips up, and then there is marching, opposite leg. So a little bit easier for people that have trouble with sliders, just aren't quite strong enough in that position. That's what we do for them. Then the last station is going to be over here. We're going to have band face pulls. So for this, we'll grab our band here. We'll have them attached to the middle hooks of our hands like this, pulling right to about our chin or our nose. So we're pulling, pinching those shoulders back, right about there, and back down. One thing we want to look out for on this station is we don't want people leading with their chin to try to get over the band, all right? So keep that head there, hold the band to your face. We're not going towards the band. So get the head right in line, going in and back out on this one. And that is going to be it for Phase 8 Wednesday's workout.
This is Phase 8 Wednesday's finisher. We're going to have a core AMRAP finisher. So weeks 1 and 2 will be an AMRAP of 4 minutes. Weeks 3 and 4 will be an AMRAP of 5 minutes. We're going to have 3 different exercises. The first exercise is 10 reps, second is 20 reps, and third is 30 reps. And you're trying to get through as many rounds as you can.
All right, so the first exercise we're going to be doing 10 reps is going to be leg lowers. So we have a couple of different versions of these. It's going to be single leg lowers. So the middle version I'll show you guys, those are going to be on the ground, both their legs up. They're going to lower one down to the ground, alternating. We want to get as close to the ground as we can, and then keep the legs as straight as we can. So try to get that leg straight as we're doing this. There's alternating legs. A little bit harder, they can do a hollow hold version, so that would be arms up like this. So it's a lot harder. We're trying to hold that position. We want to make sure though that we're not tucking our chin or anything, but same thing, just hollow hold. It is quite a bit harder than the regular version. And then if you have people that have struggled with the regular version, we can do a assisted version. So we'll grab a band, put it on our foot here, actually have it like this, or we can get a stretch strap, whatever we have, and then we're just going to go down and up. This one they would do, so if they were doing it like this, they would be assisted, they would do 10, and then the next round we do 10 on the other leg, just so we don't have to switch the band around. Same thing, just assisted a little bit easier for people that have trouble with that movement. But we want to try to encourage as many people as we can to do the regular leg lowers. So that is the first exercise. The second one we're going to be doing 20 reps is going to be banded side bends. So for this, we're going to be doing 20 reps total. So have the band under our feet, we're gonna be up nice and tall, and we're just going side to side. So we'll go down on one side, right above the knee, down on the other side. With this, we wanna make sure we're not bending those knees. So try to keep the legs straight, just leaning those shoulders in the body, really engaging that core, trying to stabilize us, going down side to side with these. We do have a modification. If you have someone that has trouble getting up and down from the ground, that would be the only reason you would need to modify this, help keep them on the ground the whole time. We're gonna do heel to heel touch. So that would be on the ground, then they're just going head up, looking straight up, reaching for their heels. This would be the same thing, 20 reps in each. But again, the only reason you would want to modify that is if they have trouble getting up and down from the ground. We just want to make sure we don't have to have them get up and down for the side bends. So similar exercise, but just keeping them on the ground for this finisher. And the third exercise, we're going to do 30 of these. Pretty tough. We're going to have Spiderman planks. So they're going to be in a plank position here, and they're bringing their one knee up to their opposite elbow, but they're going a little bit outside. So not inside, not like a mountain climber. We're going, bringing that leg outside to the opposite arm, just like this. A couple things we want to look out for. We don't want people turning their body when they go down, all right? So try to keep that hips in line. Just bring that leg out to the side like this. They can go fast if they want to. We just want to make sure they're not turning their body or anything, or bring their legs inside of it. We do have a couple modifications if they want to challenge up, they can do it from their elbows. So with this, same thing, just bringing that knee outside like this. And then if they have trouble with that, with the version on your marks, they can do mountain climber, so a little bit easier, just alternating legs. Not quite as tough as bringing that leg to the outside, but we do want to try to challenge them to do the Spiderman planks if we can. So we're going to do 30 of those, and then once they're done with that, back to the top as many rounds of those 3 exercises as they can, and that is going to be it for the Phase 8 Wednesday finisher.